6 graphic design business owners, ranging from $150,000 a year in revenue all the way up to $2.5 million a year in revenue. And we asked them, hey, how do you guys price design work?
Yeah, no, definitely. It was. I think that was one of the interesting things was seeing the range from everybody's work and effort between like their years of experience, their size of kind of team, all of that stuff. So yeah, it's just interesting. And then different new techniques and
Mm-hmm.
things that came up through it. So yeah,
And being sort of like design studio adjacent is how I kind of describe myself. Like I'm
right.
not in a studio, I don't run a studio, I've never done
Okay,
that.
yeah.
So I'm like I'm adjacent to it. But the thing that you hear is like, oh, hourly's dead. Nobody does hourly anymore. It's
Mm.
project based,
Yeah,
it's
value
value based, is
based.
the kind of buzzwords that you hear. However, what I found interesting
Hmm.
is that interviewing these 6 individuals, it's all over the place,
Yeah.
and it's kind of not all over the place like a mess. It's all over the places in what works best for their lifestyle, the
Hmm.
kind of business that they want to build and
Yeah,
grow.
and their clients as well too, different sectors and
Right.
industries and things like that. Hmm.
Yeah, so that is what I found really unique. So I thought, we did this interview. We put together this guide or this ebook. It's 30 some odd pages
Hmm.
of questions and answers, all about pricing, design work stuff. From do you want to like hold that up and like display
Oh.
somehow? So we printed one out for ourselves and for like photo purposes.
Yee.
Um, but we have the electronic ebook, and we'll provide a link for that in this post here. And basically, we went through a series of questions, kind of categorized them into 3 different categories, or 3 chapters, I think we called
Yeah.
it, and just asked questions. And what's amazing about this, the honest answers
Hmm.
that came from this crew.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pull up the ebook here, and we'll sort of go through, we'll screen share it and kind of go through it together.
Hmm.
Um, if I hit the right button, share. Why can't I? There it is. Share screen window, guide, share.
Wow.
There we go. So how does this look over here? Hey, that's decent. That's decent. Adjust screens. Sorry, guys, you're along for the ride here. I'd lower that.
What?
Do it.
Just
That's fine. That's fine.
yeah.
I was trying to slam it to the side. You know how Mac does the cool thing? You slam it, it's like it fills that
Oh.
like
Oh,
space.
that's because that's I gave you the.
Yeah,
It doesn't do it. It's a thing I downloaded for you.
yeah, yeah. But anyways,
Anyway,
it's not working.
okay.
Anyway, so we're saying it's not working. So this is it. The
Okay, I guess
guide
it gets
to
okay.
graphic design. And I'm going to keep checking back in the chat here because wherever you're watching this, whether it's YouTube or LinkedIn, you can comment, you can chat with us, and if you have questions about what we're going through, ask. We'd love to dive into them. And if it's an answer that we don't have, we'll try and find out.
Yeah, for
We'll,
sure.
we'll ask these experts and find out. So first up is the introduction to the experts. Let's just get right to that stuff first.
Hmm.
So these are our experts. We've got Marissa from MB Creative Agency, Rob Dodds, personal friend for many years now, Primal Communications on Vancouver Island, Amy Farrell, Times 2 Studio, again, known her for years. She's also a design educator and helps designers in their freelance career. Kenzie Green, freelance studio owner, known her for a while. And Marissa and Kenzie are together for the Brief Collective. So they help train designers online as well.
Hmm.
Brad's still a gem and a riot of a gentleman. He has a very animated part of the master class that comes after this pricing book.
Yeah.
But yeah, super fun, great storyteller, Piedmont Branco, and Massimo from the Angry Designers podcast, also the owner of Z Factor out of Toronto, Canada. It's not Toronto technically. I think it's Mississauga.
Oh,
But for
okay.
those who aren't familiar with Toronto or
Okay.
familiar with Mississauga, I'd be like,
The
oh, is
Canada.
it? What if it's not Mississauga?
I know. It's just.
Mississaugans, I don't think like that.
I mean, no one can know. So
Yeah, that's true.
right now.
Out of Eastern Canada,
Yeah, let's
that's
just
where
go
he
with
is.
that.
Okay, so we basically went to them with one big question that cascaded into a series of
Hmm.
questions. Um, Gabby, I kind of want to test. How do you price design projects?
That's a great question. Well, I mean, it's been my struggle, and it still always is my struggle. I think,
Hmm.
but yeah, I guess it's like I'm trying to do more on the value based stuff a
Hmm.
little bit more so.
Yep.
Trying to figure out how much value and like kind of sussing out what their like my clients sort of net worth, if you will, or like their range of like what
Yeah.
their clients also pay them.
Yeah.
And then trying to figure out like, okay, how much how much is my work and transformation going to um, give them
Yeah.
value and stuff, right? And I have my hourly rate that I've calculated, and then I throw, which that also has been a struggle because I don't think
Yeah.
I literally am just like I was like this much. Oh, that feels too much, or like
Yeah.
whatever, right? And
Yeah,
it's
we've
just
had these
hit or
conversations
miss.
where you'll come out and you're like, so I'm pricing this project,
Yeah,
and like I don't know,
yeah,
but I'm like here just like giving you
yeah,
my sort of thoughts and opinion
for
on it because
sure.
I've done sales,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's they're kind of aligned in the sense of you're providing a price for a service or a product or
Totally.
something, and you need to adjust your pricing or rates based on the
Mm-hmm.
expectation of your client if you
Mm-hmm.
want to be flexible.
Yeah.
But some people are just not flexible in terms of doing that. Some are
Mm-hmm.
like, my price is my price, and that's cool too for the
Yeah.
industry that you're working on. But yeah, we've
Yeah.
had some interesting conversations on
Yeah, for
pricing.
sure. And I still don't, I mean, I never really know for sure, like kind of like settle in on it or whatever. But yeah, I think I've gotten better at it. I
Yeah,
think,
I
but the
agree.
thing is for me though, like I still am just a stressed, anxious person with that. So like, I really do love the hourly model. Like I
Hmm.
do love that. And I'm just like, okay, once you kind of get started, like I'll just work on this and
Yeah,
then I charge it and like this is what you pay,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because that just kind of takes a little bit of a level of trust of like, okay, if this person's going to work hourly, they're going to get it done. But at the same time, like you do sort of leave money on the table with
Hmm.
not doing the value based thing because again, like someone will always be like you're worth what someone will pay for it
Hmm.
essentially, and because value based, like it is where like they are going to get so much more off of like your little bit of work that you've done or something.
And I think in terms of the bigger you're pricing a project, from talking to you about this, from listening to the interviews, it seems like the bigger the project, the bigger the commitment
Yeah.
of the client to you and
Mm-hmm.
the solutions that you're providing,
Yeah.
the more invested you feel into that solution.
Totally. Yeah.
Whereas in through the interviews, some people just were like, hourly, no, don't feel it, don't like
Mm.
it. Actually, I use hourly to persuade them to like wrap it up, to like
Right.
figure it out. Now
Yeah.
you're being charged by the hour. You got to wrap
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
But you said you feel comfortable with hourly. You
Mm-hmm.
like hourly. You like
Mm-hmm.
the flexibility that arrives. So it's really about finding the way that works best for you
Yeah.
and your business goals, not necessarily trying to flip and flop to
Mm-hmm.
fit all customers,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I still like, I think there's a place as well where it, it definitely like some customers will just appreciate a certain style and things,
Mhm.
and so I don't know. I mean, yeah, like I think obviously it's different when some of these people have a lot more clients than
Yeah.
I do as well, and they've
Yeah.
been kind of more structured in that because I was in house for a
Yeah.
lot, right?
Yeah.
So I haven't really been diving. Yeah, so I mean, diving into the freelancing stuff
Yeah.
a bit more, kind of getting back in the game and all of that. So yeah, I don't know, it's an interesting and everything works differently. But I think part of the process was yeah, hearing how our experts
Yeah.
are doing it and yeah, and going
Yeah.
through the guide basically.
Yeah. And understanding pricing is more really just like it's not just setting rates and being like that's where we're at, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
really understanding what you were just saying is the value that you're providing to them
Yeah.
and finding the sweet spot with all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So really the purpose of this guide is twofold. One is to just show you examples of here is a range of experts running their businesses from 5 years to 20 plus years or 30 plus years.
Mm-hmm.
Here's how they've done it. Here's the lessons they've learned along the way to provide you perspective because pricing design is not something that's talked about in the like mainstream design world as much as illustrator tips and tricks or like
Right.
things
Yeah.
like that, right?
Yeah.
No, very few people are coming out and talking about
Mm-hmm.
pricing design work.
Mm-hmm.
So we wanted to just throw another resource into the marketplace with perspective from all of these different design
Yeah,
business owners.
for sure.
The second, aligned with Print Design Academy, is a lot of these business owners are using print and packaging design in their business to make more revenue.
Mm-hmm.
And in some cases, 15, 20 minutes of work per quarter
Yeah,
makes them an extra couple grand
for
per
sure.
quarter,
For
things like
sure.
that.
Yeah.
So all these little things, not from like, hey, here's how you do this, but no, here's how they are actually doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Day by day, this is how it all works.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so let's dive into just a couple of these chapters. I don't know what happened there. First question was really based around mindset. So a lot of designers, and I'm sure if you're watching this, maybe you felt this way and you've expressed
Oh,
feeling
all
this.
the time.
The struggle with recognizing value and how to charge and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So we literally went out to these experts like, look, you guys have run businesses for 5, 10, 15, 30 years. Did you feel this way? And how did you overcome that? And you get some stories, you get some answers, and you get a little bit of context of where they started mindset wise, where they were at. Like we were 30 bucks an hour, we were 40 bucks an hour. Rob Dodd's here, their rate was 40 bucks an hour 30 years ago. And I don't know what that works out to inflation wise, but I mean,
Yeah.
they had staff. And
Mm-hmm.
as a studio, they were charging 40 bucks an hour.
Yeah.
So, that's a growth perspective to
Mm-hmm.
where they're at now. Then all of them get an opportunity to answer this question and share their knowledge, share their story.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, this one I thought was really fun, and I really wanted to ask this question to get perspective on, the biggest project you've ever landed, and what's the smallest one you've
Yeah.
done, slightly above free, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
free is like, how
Yeah.
many designers do free work? Put up your
Yeah.
hands. Yeah, I see all of you with your hands up. The least is like free for friends and family, but 35 bucks for a logo starting you. How much can you find a $35? I mean, you
I mean,
can.
Fiverr
You
now,
can.
right?
You go to Fiverr and get a $5 logo. You probably get
You do it
50
on AI
options.
or whatever, and it's not gonna look great. But
Yeah, 7 or
now
8
it's even
seconds.
more, but crazy. Yeah.
And I thought it would be great to sort of show this perspective. So Marissa, for example, she's about $150,000 in revenue, and her biggest project was 14 grand.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Anybody would be stoked with a
Totally.
$14,000 project. Then on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, Massimo and his agency here, um, $500,000 project. Different scale,
Yeah.
different perspective, different niches as
Yeah.
well that they
Yeah.
specialize in. So it was really cool to sort of get that perspective. And
Mm-hmm.
again, just to really reassure you reading this, if you have any doubts or concerns about your pricing, it's like these guys have been there.
Yeah.
We've like every designer starting a studio has been in that doubt, not sure what to do, feeling like they charge too little,
Yeah.
feeling like they should have charged more.
Yeah.
So then straight up with the big old question, how do you charge for design work?
Mm-hmm.
Some of them short, simple answers. Other ones is a mix of different ways and different methods that they put things together. What factors do you consider when working out what to charge for pricing design work? This was an interesting question because it touched on that value-based thing.
Yeah.
Where if you have a mom and pop sandwich shop just opening up in your hometown and they need a branding and all that, but then you also have like Nike starting a sub brand
Totally.
and they need branding and all of that too. Technically, the projects are like the same as in the deliverable side
Yeah,
of things.
in a sense, and I think the risk is obviously higher as well, and like
Great
things
point.
like that too. Of like Nike, obviously, you need
Yeah.
to make sure you're doing probably more research
Yeah.
and like into even just I don't know political stuff or whatever, right? Like you just don't
So,
want to
so much
do
more to think about,
yeah.
right?
So it is even though technically on paper it's like okay, I'm doing brand, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely like there'll be more collateral, and so that time in that kind of thing, and value, and how much everybody else is investing into something like Nike or like the mom and pop shoppers, like they just need something they don't really know, but like they need some clarity.
They
and
need
stuff
something
too.
and it's got to look good for the hometown.
Mm-hmm.
And also, if it's in your hometown and you're having lunch there occasionally, you want it to look good.
Yeah.
If people
For
are going to
your
be
own
saying like
benefit.
this guy did this or this girl did this, you want it to look good.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not going to go to the mom and pop and say, well, I usually charge Nike $150,000
Yeah.
for this work, so I'll give you a bit of a discount, 140.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to do that. You're going to go in there and you're like, look, give me sandwiches for life, and we'll just like we'll trade, whatever that arrangement is, right? So understanding industry specific factors that go into pricing, and these were some of the longer answers, which is great. Then we get into presenting pricing to clients, small budget clients, big budget clients, current clients with new projects. Is it all the same kind of presentation method? Is it different? Why is it different, and how so? And in this one in particular, there's the guidebook, and then if you download the guidebook, there's a masterclass offer for like $9 or something after that. But Marissa, in her masterclass, dives into how she presents pricing to clients, and she actually builds the quote live screen sharing with them. So the
Mhm.
customer is like, yeah, that, yeah, we'll add that. Yeah, no, we don't need that. We'll skip over that. So they're building the proposal right there
Yeah,
live with the customer, which
pretty
is
cool.
really
Unique.
interesting. Do you charge differently for digital design work versus print design work? Different perspectives on that. Rush fees. Do you charge rush fees? And this is another one that was interesting. And again, all over the place.
Mm.
No exact solution of like, yes, we do all the time. Some of them were just no,
Yeah.
we don't. If we can do it, we can.
Mhm. Mhm.
How often do you evaluate your pricing and make changes? This is sort of touching on that, increasing your rates,
Yeah.
right? So that is one that, again, it's just one of those questions that are like, when, how do I know,
Mhm.
should I, what if I
Yeah.
lose clients, addressing
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Pop up the chat there for a sec. Next page, how do you avoid competing on price for design work? Um, and again, this was interesting. Some of them are playing around with it. Some of them play a little game. Some of them get strategic about
Yeah.
it. But I'd say more commonly, it's my price is my price.
Yeah.
You find it cheaper elsewhere.
Mhm.
Thanks for your time.
Totally. Because I think, obviously, a lot of the time too, like you have specific styles or
Mhm,
things like that, or you, even though it might be a different price, but like, oh, maybe you were referred to,
mhm.
someone referred you to them, or whatever the words I'm trying to find. But yeah, so there's like that little already built of trust, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna go with you anyway. Like, so I don't know. I think there's a lot of factors that come into play for sure. But
Mhm.
yeah, it just seems like the consensus is just like the work will come, like
Price is my
like
price,
price is
right?
my price.
Your
Yeah.
client is your client. And when in the masterclass part of this, um, we get into storytelling and talking about stories about the situation and competing on
Mm-hmm.
price. And you hear from them on customers that they passed on because they just didn't have the budget for their kind of work. And they said, hey, all the best, wish
Yeah.
you well. And then other ones where they did lower their prices and regretted it
Right. Yeah.
because a customer that's there looking for a discount and you flex or you go much below where you feel the pricing should really be, that can often lead to a pain in the ass client.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Because I know it's so funny. It's like I find the clients that want the most also give you nothing to work with, or like the worst to get like in touch with, or
Yeah,
like they're like, oh, I want a deal, and then it's like they're not even there to like,
unresponsive and
yeah,
yeah,
it's just like if you okay, I'm giving you something here, like
yeah,
work with me, right? But
yeah.
yeah, I guess that's just true, right? You
It's
want
so
what you
true.
want.
And there's that saying out there where it's like the $50,000 customer, the email reply to the quote is great, deposit paid.
Yeah.
And then the $50 one is like, well, what's exactly included in
Yeah.
this $50? Could you break this down line
Hmm.
by line for me? And
It's true.
immediately it's like, immediately no, immediately not worth it. What are some add-ons and extra services you offer to clients to help boost your revenue? This is where print started to make an introduction, which was interesting to me. But they've all kind of learned to recognize opportunities for add-ons and extra services, upsells, things that you can add to increase the value that you're delivering to the client while also making more revenue in your business.
Mhm.
And this particular topic came up a few times in that masterclass where we did the live sort of project quoting.
Yeah.
So I basically role played with 10 different projects, a bunch of like fake projects,
Hmm.
and just threw them out there to them and sort of watched them navigate a sales call live.
Yeah.
Um, and recorded it all so you could
Hmm.
see some of the fun exchanges we have.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where like unique ideas. Rob's, for example, we were a resort that was looking to increase our off-season traffic, but we were under construction.
Nice.
And he's like, "Oh, great! You know what? It'd be cool. We should invite families. We should have little hard hats with your logo on them, waiting for kids in the rooms and
Yeah.
stuff."
Yeah.
And after that, we finished the sort of mock sales call. I said to Rob, like, and you're making profit on all of those little add-ons, those little hats, those little things. He's like, yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'll get a price for hard hats and I'll mark it up 15-20% and I'll pass it on to the client. And they get their hard hats. I get my 15-20%.
Yeah.
We delivered on the
Hmm.
solution. It's great value.
Totally.
So that was really interesting to see. Then in the third chapter, we dove deep into making more money in your business with print design,
Hmm.
and sort of the four top level methods to do that. This is where Gabby and I kind of chime in with our expertise, offering
Yeah.
print design as a service,
Hmm.
create a print management fee for your time invested, your press checks, and
Yeah.
everything else required with that. Because I've actually talked to designers who did 8 to 10 hour a day press checks
Great.
and made no extra money for their time.
Yeah, I think that was kind of common in our community as well too. Like, some of the people had mentioned that, and and it's just something you don't really think about, and
Mhm.
that's why we put these pages out and stuff and have people
Yeah,
read them. But yeah, totally. Like if you're doing anything in terms of managing or having to coordinate, like
yeah.
your time is value, your time
Requesting
is
quotes
money,
even.
requesting quotes, like
Yeah.
all of that stuff is something like,
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, I know I spoke to someone the other day too, and this is different, but someone I know freelances does a 15-minute minimum charge on like just replying to an email or something like that too.
Yeah.
So every email that he replies to, he contracts out. So he just like has a 15-minute minimum charge on all those tasks.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, which is that in itself is just it all part of the work
Yeah.
process, right? Which I think
Yeah.
we always just like, oh, that's just kind of doing business.
Yeah.
So then if that's doing business, then your rates should include that if you're not going to charge for that directly, or
Yeah.
but in general, like for print and stuff, like that's a huge, and it's a knowledge base that you need
Yeah.
that's a bit more
Mhm.
unique, which we hope it won't be unique and people get into print more and
Yeah.
like take our courses and things
They
like that.
already are, so it's
But
good.
but yeah, so I think it's obviously an added knowledge
Yeah.
that is good to have,
Yeah.
and you can charge for that because you're
100%.
taking the workload off, and you're going to do, I mean, depending on my understanding of it, but you're probably going to do a better job and get a project that's proofed properly, it's all designed well, it's going
Yes.
to arrive in their door like well, and
Yeah.
whatever, anyway, all that stuff. So
Most clients don't want to handle the printing.
yeah.
They just want it done and delivered
Hmm.
in a box that
Yeah.
they can open and hand out.
Yeah.
That's what they want. So you as a designer taking on that task, charge for that,
Yeah.
make extra revenue on that, and deliver that service for your client. Now your value is higher, your revenue is higher. Happy days. One of the comments in our community recently actually was somebody who paid extra for a set of hard copy proofs out of
Yes.
her own money because she
Yes.
really just wanted to make sure that everything was looking
Hmm.
good and dialed in. And I'm like, next time you could upcharge, upsell that extra hard copy proof for the exact same reason, get your customer to pay for it, and
Yeah,
you can make a little bit of profit off of that thing.
for sure.
And you're both happy because you're both reassured
Yeah.
that the job is going to come out exactly how you
Hmm.
intend to.
Hmm.
So that was a cool
Totally.
one.
Yeah, including all those thoughts and those things in your process for sure.
Mhm.
Never want to be spending your own money,
No.
especially when it's for someone else, right?
And then diving into the world of trade printers. Now, trade printers could be guys like people who print merch, people who do signage, people who do 3D printed signage, people who do decals, stickers,
Yeah,
anything that you would need to order for your client, banners,
totally.
whatever.
And I mean, and also like just large, large print jobs as well too. Like
Mhm.
on just
Yeah.
like the regular printing style type stuff, if something is a bit more unique or larger than your local print shop.
Yep.
But yeah, a lot of like the apparel and stuff too is definitely on that list where it's a bit.
Lots.
Hmm.
And basically, trade printers give incredibly low prices to be very competitive, to give you, as the designer or print manager, room to mark that price up and pass it on. You can still do something similar to the trade printer concept with your local printers. There's going to be a little bit less profit, but you have also more control over the project. So the closer you get to where ink's going on paper, ink's going on fabric,
Yeah.
ink's going on banner, whatever it is, the more control you have over it.
Hmm.
And in the masterclass, actually, especially with Brad, we dive into the world of working with printers and how to test out a new printer
Yeah.
and get them on your list. So then we went out to our experts with these questions. How do you manage print markups and communicate them with your clients? We talk all about that and answer that question. What's your print markup on quotes? Rob and Brad, specifically Brad's answer, I'd rather not say. Sometimes a little, sometimes a lot. But Amy and Rob really delivered on this one as well. What do you charge for print management, and do you bill print management even if you are making markup on the project? Rob Dodds, right off the start, yes and yes.
Mhm.
Charging for print management and dives into the reasons why. And
Mhm.
then we just dive into the bios of them a bit more, give you a bit more information on who they are, their
Mhm.
origin story, where their business has
Yeah.
started, and all that
Mhm.
kind of
And that's that.
stuff. So not
Not
that
that
button,
button.
Gabby. Don't
Holy
push that button. Can
jeez.
you why do they have mostly stop?
I don't know. I
Right?
don't know.
I should write a
Okay.
strongly worded letter.
Gosh. Just end the
Almost cut off
stream.
the stream immediately. So that's it. That is the
Anyway.
guide to pricing graphic design. In the comments of this post when it goes up on LinkedIn, we'll make sure we share it.
It's a little
No, I don't have it set up. Should have done that. That's okay.
great.
We'll share it in the
Mhm.
post. So if you're watching this and wondering, hey, where do I get this link? Just look in the description, either YouTube or LinkedIn, wherever you're watching it,
Yeah.
and you will see it there. And
Our Instagram too. If you follow us on Instagram,
right.
Link in bio on that. Yeah.
And it's totally free.
Totally free.
This guide to pricing graphic design, this PDF is totally free. Get it, download it instantly. Find it on Instagram, design_academy, LinkedIn, YouTube, wherever you find us.
Yeah.
Thanks again, and happy pricing. Get out there and increase your rates.
Do it.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, see ya. Bye.
Bye.